Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing after the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could just remain standing for a moment of silence for Bill Swan, who passed away Sunday. Bill was a member of the Finance Committee and longtime captain of the Auxiliary Police. Bill will be missed by many. Thank you. Okay, and the public announcements. I have one public announcement. The 32nd Annual Senior Citizen Cookout will be held Friday, August 24th, from 11 o'clock a.m. until 1 o'clock p.m. at the VFW Grove. Thanks to the Abington Bank for sponsoring the food and Colony House Nursing Home for sponsoring Rick Walsh Music Services. Town officials and department heads are needed to help cook and serve the seniors, and they can probably contact you, Kevin, if anybody wants to volunteer for help. Contact Kevin Donovan, please. Anybody else have any public announcements?
I'd just like to make a comment, because last Friday we had the zip trip, as most of us, so Fox News came out here, and even I watched the news last night, and they were still commenting on what a great town Abington was, the numbers of people that showed up, and what a close-knit community. In my travels around today, there was a lot of people that watched that and observed what was going on, so a big thank you for the people that put that on, especially Nancy Reed, who I believe initiated the action, and it was very successful, and we should be proud of what happened that day. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, tricentennial update. Jan Prowl?
Yeah, I didn't see, she was hiding back there.
I was hiding? No. Anyway, something different tonight. I'm not going to give the speech. The little update, yeah, thanks. What I'd like to do is our big event is coming up on Sunday. It is the Tri-Town Firefighters Muster, and we have invited to speak on behalf of the Tricentennial Captain Ron Howe from the Fire Department to give the update as to the competition between Abington, Whitman, and Rockland come this Sunday down at Abington High School. So I want to welcome Captain Ron Howe.
Okay, Ron.
Hi, I'm Captain Ron Howe from the Abington Fire Department and Chairman of the Muster Committee. This Sunday, for the first time in a long time in this town, we're going to have a muster for the firefighters. Just the Tri-Town muster, just going to be the 3 towns. Back in June, we sent out a challenge to the firefighters of Old East Abington and Old South Abington, and they accepted. So we have the 3 towns. Will be 5 events, 3 of them with wet hose, 1 with a forcible entry, and then a relay event. So all the firefighters are going to get together. We'll have some fun. Will be a short parade to start off the muster, just coming up Lincoln Boulevard. We're hoping to get a couple of antique fire engines. We're still working on that, but apparently there's a big muster out on the other end of the state, and all the antique fire apparatus are out there for their huge parade. So we'll be getting together for that. So there'll be food provided by for sale from Abington Youth Soccer and Abington Lions Club, and we'll have the trucks parked there so the kids can come and look at the trucks, and we'll also have some plastic fire hats for the kids. And after it's from 2 to 5 p.m. on Sunday, the 12th, and after that, at 6 o'clock, there's a concert by the John Penny Band up at the bandstand. So the muster itself will be at the field behind the high school at the gymnasium parking lot.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Thanks, Ron.
Okay.
Good luck with it.
Thank you.
6:35, we have an executive session scheduled, so I would need a motion to enter into executive session with the Board of Sewer Commissioners for the purpose of strategies pertaining to pending litigation with the City of Brockton, and also to discuss fire union collective bargaining proposal.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we enter into executive session with the Board of Sewer Commissioners for the purpose of strategy pertaining to pending litigation with the City of Brockton, and to discuss the fire union collective bargaining with just a note that I can't participate in the fire contract.
A second.
Any discussion on the motion?
What's that? Yeah, I don't think you can either. I think I can. You think you can now?
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Mr. Dion?
Yes.
Mr. Boyle?
Yes.
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 And the chairman votes yes. And we will reconvene after the executive session is over. So I'm going to ask everybody who's not, we'll deal with the Board of Sewer Commissioners first, so anybody who's not involved with that, if they could just step outside, I'd appreciate it.
Doesn't have to. Council.
You want us to stay?
Oh, yeah, Joe, you can stay.
You can stay. Yeah. We're not kicking you out. Kick everybody else out.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be televised.
And just to let everybody know, we did have an executive session with the sewer commissioners. We did not get to the fire department. We're going to do that after we conduct the open session portion of the meeting, only because that might take a little bit longer. So we don't want you folks to have to wait any longer than necessary. So we're back in open session under public appointments, 7 o'clock p.m., hearing for Abington Sitco, 115 Brockton Avenue, regarding a complaint. And that was, I guess, July 26, 2012. Mrs. Jameson sent a letter to Mr. Zahid Durrani. Dear Mr. Durrani, this office has received a complaint regarding the hours of operation of your gas station and car wash. Your current hours of operation licensed for the gas station are Monday through Sunday, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. The hours of operation licensed for the car wash are Monday through Sunday, 8 o'clock a.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. The complaint is that you are lighting your facility and creating excessive noise with regard to your trash dumpster before 6 o'clock a.m. Attached is a receipt indicating that a car wash was purchased at the time of the gasoline purchase at 6:04:30 a.m. on June 15, 2012. This may be in violation of your license that was granted by the Board of Selectmen on February 27, 2012. Please be advised that the Board of Selectmen, acting as the licensing authority for the town of Abington, will hold a hearing on Monday, August 6, 2012 at 7 o'clock p.m. in the Carter Hearing Room, Abington Town Offices. The purpose of this hearing is to consider the aforementioned complaints and to determine what action, if any, will be taken. At the hearing, you are entitled to be represented by counsel. Please contact this office should you have any questions or concerns. Sincerely, Dory R. Jameson, Assistant Town Manager. And is Mr. Durrani here?
He's here.
Attorney Whiting, you're representing him? Okay, do you want to come forward? Thanks.
Good evening.
Go up to the podium there, Judge. Thanks. Good evening, George. So you heard the complaint, at least initially.
I'm here in representation of Mr. Durrani from Abington Sitco, who has been in business at that location for some 8 years now. Most recently, he had requested of the Board of Selectmen permission to increase the capacity of his tanks at the location of 115 Brockton Avenue. It was granted with, I guess, some stipulations or regulations as to what he might or might not do. The hours of his operation for the gas station itself were, as you said, Mr. Chairman, from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days of the week. He also had permission to run his car wash from 8 in the morning till 8 at night, Monday through Sunday, as you said. And he has been doing so. There has been, since the reopening of the gas station, which took some considerable time, if you noticed as you drove by, period of time when the gas station was closed. As he reopened, he had the usual employees and so forth, maybe a new person here or there, with new direction as to what he might or might not do as a result of the stipulations placed upon the gas station by the board. And he has done his very best to police that situation. He's, needless to say, not on the premises at all hours of it being open, but he does admit that certain indiscretions from time to time might arise, and if in fact the car wash was used as the slip might indicate, he would have no knowledge of that. The only thing he can tell us for sure is that code was used to operate the car wash at some point. Again, we cannot say at what time or what day or anything else. If you've ever purchased a car wash there or at any other place, you know that coming in and purchasing your gasoline after the 6 o'clock hour has come and gone in the morning, you may also just punch in that you would like to have a car wash, and it gives you a code that's good for several days or several weeks, I guess, to use in the future. It is not necessarily so that the car wash would have been used at that very moment in time on that day, but there's no question but what the car wash was purchased at that time. We have not been informed of who actually used the car wash at that point in time, and I would point out that I would suggest anyway that my client would be entitled to confront anyone who accuses him of having the car wash open at that hour, and rather than stipulate that it was, because we can't say one way or the other with any definiteness, that we have our doubts that it was used. If it was one of those isolated instances where new people, new circumstances, basically a new setup for the garage took place. But as I indicated before, he's been zealous in seeing that the signs are up, that the doors are closed, that the chains are across, and it's made very clear that the car wash will not open until 8 o'clock in the morning, and that it will close at 8 o'clock at night. As far as the dumpster situation is concerned, I spoke with Sharon White earlier today. She had looked at the situation. She finds the dumpster in a very convenient location, not in violation of any of the terms or conditions that she would have. She indicated that she had spoken to Waste Management and that there would be no emptying of the receptacle before the hour of 7 o'clock in the morning, that the lid was firmly fastened, and that she was satisfied that at least this portion of the verbal complaint, I would point out, had been made aware to her, and she had fully investigated to her satisfaction. She did indicate that any complaint about the lights, she was not in jurisdiction to investigate herself, that it would be a Department of Public Health situation, but my man here tells me that he had addressed the situation with the lights and had dimmed them considerably since the time that he had purchased the premises from the Fernandez brothers quite some years ago now. I understand that there may in fact be a letter from an electrician that would verify that the lights had been dimmed. As far as opening early, he does not open before 6 o'clock in the morning. Some of the activity that goes on there requires a sticking, if you will, of the tanks to determine how much gasoline is in the tanks before he opens for the day. This is a necessary situation in all instances. He does this as quietly as possible, and he says certainly with less volume than the traffic that goes by each day, so many times each day. He's trying to be a good neighbor. He has tried to make some conciliations with his neighbor, the complainant. We've seen nothing in writing, although Sharon had asked him the neighbor to put his concerns in writing, and in that way she would be able to address certain of his other concerns, but that never materialized. As a result of this, my representation to the board that this was an isolated incident, that it is not about to happen again, that he is zealous in making sure that that is the case. We would ask for any further consideration in hopes that there won't be any further complaints in the future. His desire is to have peaceful coexistence with the neighborhood, but for the complainant, he believes that that is the case. He's not aware of any other person that has any complaints about the way he does business. Other than that, we really have not much else to say. We reserve the right to readdress the board if the need arises, and we thank you for your time very much. And any questions, I'd certainly like to field them.
Tom?
Yes.
Thanks, George. One of the questions I had, not only at your client's gas station, but others, I noticed when you go, you get sort of the screen of different options, and once you put your credit card in, it comes up and asks you for a car wash, yes or no. My question is, it seems like that might be software, or is there any way that you could program that so that it only appears between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., which would eliminate even the option to select it in error or whatever? I'm not sure if it's possible, but it just seems, it's a question I have.
Likewise, I'm not sure myself, however, it does seem that it would solve a multitude of problems, and it would take away an argument such as we have confronting us this
Yeah.
evening. If there is such a thing possible, and it would take more of a computer savvy person than myself, we could certainly look into it, and I would recommend to my man that that be
Yeah.
done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Along those lines, because I know where you're going, Tom, with that, but somebody could go in and just, I guess it's, ticket is good for X amount of hours or something like that.
A
So
couple of weeks, I think, Mr.
it would
Craig.
seem to me that you could, and again, I don't want to misspeak, but with all the technology we have, you could put in a contactor or have an electrician put in a contactor that would disable that. Absolutely disable the function of the car wash from those hours, along with the vacuum cleaner. They all should have circuits coming off a circuit board. They all should go to the power of the machines and everything like that. Each one should have a circuit breaker, and it would seem to me that you could put in a contactor that would be controlled by a switch, that at 8 o'clock at night, that switch would be down, those lights would go off, the buffer machines would turn off, the pumps would turn off, and the vacuum cleaner would turn off. I don't know that for a fact, but I believe if you contact an electrician, and I don't think it would cost you a ton of money to do that, because you should be able to, they should all be located near that central panel, you should all be able to identify which one it is. Have them go into a switch similar to a lighting circuit or whatever, you throw the switch in. And that would effectively eliminate any possibility of, and again, I don't want to misspeak and say, it's going to cost $30,000 to have it done. I just think, as a suggestion, I might look at that being.
We thank you for that suggestion. Have you thought of that or looked into that possibility?
I tried it, but we cannot shut the car wash. We could put the leech or rope over there, but we cannot shut because the recycling has to recycle all the time.
Has to recycle, what, the
Water.
water?
Water.
I mean, is that a separate, again, I don't know, if I'd have to look at it, but is that a separate circuit where it could recycle water, but the pumps and the buffer machines and the lights would turn off? It would seem to me that that would be,
The lights off, that's separate. The car wash itself, we cannot shut it off. If it shuts off, then recycling will, that create a problem.
right?
It won't be-
As far as, you say you chain the,
We change
do you
the
put
front.
an actual lock on there, or is it just a chain with a hook that somebody can take off?
And there's a timing too up there, 8 to 8.
There's a lock, so somebody.
No lock,
There is no
just
lock.
the chain hooks up one end to the
Wouldn't it
other.
make sense to put a lock on there, just, I mean, even a padlock, just to lock it between 8 o'clock
That's-
PM and 8 o'clock AM, and then?
Yeah.
I mean, for an easily, quick solution at least. I like your solution as far as the electrical panel, but Kevin?
If I could, the thing that, and I understand things happen, however, it was a very short time ago when you were before the board, and I think we asked you specifically that evening as to whether you understood the severity of the issues. You responded that you did. I guess my concern is this, is that while I appreciate, the representation that you're going to be diligent, I guess I can't stress enough the issue that, it's the old story, strike one, strike two, strike three, and you're going to lose the license. So I guess my point to you is, this may be, an issue that you're before us this evening, and it may be that you have valid, excuses or valid explanations would be a better word. But again, I'm going to impress upon you that if we, as far as I'm concerned, if we see you again, the issue in terms of the license as it relates to the property runs with the land. There is nothing to prevent us to holding a show cause hearing because you are not keeping the property in conformance with the original requirements. So if the issue is as simple as putting a padlock, on the car wash thing, I would suggest very strongly that you consider that. I think the issue in terms of the dumpster appears by the health agent has been addressed, but it would behoove you too, to contact Waste Management and ensure that, nothing. And if it's an employee, then again, it still falls to you. The buck stops with you. So that if there are issues there, you've got to be cognizant of that, because we cannot, keep having you come up here. So I understand and appreciate your explanations, but again, I want it for the record that I hope this is the last time we see you up here, in that regard.
We'll do our very best, and we thank you for your input very much and for your consideration.
Anybody else have any questions, comments?
Thank you. Thank you.
Just
Hold
just
on,
one
John.
comment,
Certainly,
George. I think the health agent is going to monitor the pickup and delivery, the pickup of the dumpster. It was being picked up before 7 o'clock. I don't know if we went through this one exactly.
No, we haven't gone through that.
But it has not been resolved, I think, until the health agent says, you know, we've monitored it for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and they seem to get it. They understand that it has to be picked up after 7. And I would just impress to you the fact that you live with neighbors. I mean, and I know that you're a business, and we want you to thrive, but at the same time, we have to balance the interests of the resident, and, you know, there is a neighborhood. Even though it's a commercial district, there are still homes scattered about, and, you know, we have to be very mindful of that.
Again, points well taken. We'll take them to heart, and we thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next public appointment, actually, Mike, you're gonna handle this. I'm gonna. Yes,
I want to address it.
excuse me?
Sitco.
Well, that was a hearing with him. I mean,
I
did you,
know, but-
did you have something to add, or?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is Stan.
I'm Cody.
Are you the guy who made
Party
the?
involved.
Okay,
Hey,
okay.
Stan, don't leave your phone this time.
No, I won't.
Okay.
I brought these copies, and I apologize for the back page with the signatures on it, but I have the original here, okay? Now, in relationship to this,
Can you just identify yourself, sir?
I'm sorry?
Just identify
Oh, sure.
yourself and your
Stan
address.
Kogut, K-O-G-U-T, 27 Rockland Street, Abington.
Thank you.
This actually goes back as far back as 2008. We have a letter here from the Board of Health telling him he can't operate certain hours, but he totally avoided that, okay? I gave John a list just prior to going on vacation of 15 violations in the week's time of the car wash going off anywhere from 6 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. I had him date and the time. As far as that person, I personally went over there and got this slip from him showing that he went through, he came out of the car wash. It was a gray pickup truck. I have seen the gray pickup truck parked there at the service station after the fact. I think he's an employee or a relationship. Because I even said to him, would you like it if we came to your neighborhood and did this? He said, no, I wouldn't. So I'm the one that physically got this. It's not a fibbing or anything. On Friday, July 6th, I'm sorry, on Friday, July 6th, the dumpster got picked up at 6:10, on 6:28, 6:35, 7:12, at 6:35. On 7:19, the car wash went off at 6:15 a.m. on the 19th. That's a Thursday. The dumpster was picked up 15 minutes later. On Sunday, the 15th, I happen to be working in the yard, and the vacuums are going off at 8:45 at night. I went, oh, there was a pickup truck over there vacuuming. He happened to be a town employee. He happened to work for the fire department. He happened to come over, the fire station's right next door. He pulled over there, put his money in, he was vacuuming his truck. I said, this thing is not supposed to be working, okay? I went inside, and the guy said, well, one of them is broke. How do you think we're supposed to make our money? Not my problem if one of them is broke. You're not supposed to be operating after 8 o'clock at night. If you see those letters, the material that I brought, the dumpster, you can see the picture of it, how it's overflowing. Now, we happen to be the only house that faces that gas station, except for the lady that lives on Lodge Court next to me. And she couldn't be here. These people, there are 5 houses that are concerned. We have signatures from 4 different families. From Elm Street, Louds Court, and Rockland Street about something, problem with this service station, as everything is listed. His license said he's not supposed to operate before 6 in the morning. He absolutely insists to open that station anywhere from 5:15 to 5:30. Put the lights on, and he's got cash business. It's not checking for gas. He's doing a cash business. He's got guys pumping. He's got cars getting gas. Now, I see it. I happen to be semi-retired. I am there more so than anybody else. I see it. Our bedrooms face this. It's just like this trash thing. Thursday morning when it was picked up, I jumped out of bed. I got home at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was working that night, Wednesday night. I got home at 4 in the morning. I jumped. They dropped it so loud. That dumpster used to be on the other side of the service station, between the service station and Auto Sound. Why can't it be back over there? Why does it have to be on the residential side? Okay? That's all. I'm trying to be fair too. Do I have to come out of my house and my wife come out of the house and see this trash all the time? They don't even close. Now, did they attempt to even close the top? No. Now, I showed Jen, and she said, well, I can't believe the picture. What am I, did I make this picture up? I got to be there, see it in person. Well, you know, you want to go down there at 10 o'clock at night? No problem. Okay? The next picture, you see the lights on the station? You see the light in the background? There's a person that lives at 39, 2 people, and the house is almost 2 city blocks away. The first 2 signatures. They live there at 67 Elm Street. That light shines in Craig's bedroom. And I went out this morning. I had to leave the house at 4:30 to go to the airport. And I pulled around, and there's 2 lights up on the pole. They will blind you. You think it's Fort Knox. He could put a light to light up that area. He could put a light on the building shining down. There is no reason for these lights. None whatsoever. The lady that lives across the street. Oh, and Kevin, Craig also mentioned about the vacuum cleaners. He hears a squealing noise all the time. And he's 2 blocks away, up on Elm Street. And I'm right across the street. I hear that damn vacuum. The vacuums go off, excuse me. You know, you can only put up with so much. My other half has lived there for 31 years. There was another service station there. She never went through any of this. We can't move. We just spent $15,000 on the house to put a new roof and everything else in. And this man told me, I called him over 2 weeks ago on a Sunday night and asked him, why is that car wash door open when the car's going through? Why do I have to breathe that soap and chemicals and everything coming out of there, coming over? You know what he said to me? Hey, you don't like it? Move. I pay more taxes than you do. The town needs me more than you. That's his exact words to me. Okay? And yes, I am livid because we can't change our bedroom. My stepdaughter, her bedroom is right there. She gets the lights. The lady that lives at Jamie, it's a gray house. The 72 Elm Street. She says, Stan, she's pregnant. She says, I don't know, when I had my baby, I want to be able to open the window and everything, but I can't even open my blinds at night because of the damn lights. He just had remodeling done, whatever, to the service station. They were there last week, changing every single light again along the building, and every single one of them is brighter today than it was a week ago. They put all new fixtures in, and every single light's brighter today. Well, you can have a letter showing me that you reduced it 30%, but they just changed them all again. And I showed you a picture. It's not the best in the world, but that's kind of bright. And if Craig, that lives, heck, what can I say, to the parking lot, and that light shines in his bedroom, what can I say?
No,
Yes.
I think you've
I've said it all.
said it all.
Right, because I am just so bothered by this
understand.
going
I
on
can tell.
since 2008.
Yep. Tom?
Yeah, Stan, thank you, I mean, for, let's say, the animated comments, and obviously you've, are very upset about it. I would just tell you, as one selectman, I'm not prepared really to vote to pull his license tonight.
Right.
And when I look at your 8 bullets here, I think we're trying to address, some of them as far as the hours of operation, the car wash. We didn't hear before about the light, but maybe that could be shut off outside the hours of operation. I'm not sure on the noise, if we have a noise variance or whatever to help with that. I mean, that's something that we
I can
may be able
address
to
that.
investigate.
The Board of Health does, and in, I think, the notification that was sent to you by the health agent, they are going to begin measuring the sound, the noise from the car wash, vacuums, and so forth. That is going to happen. That is one of the approaches that the health agent is going to take.
Right. And he has a point in here about gas deliveries between 2 and 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm not sure if we...
What is the deal with that, John? Is that considered part of the business license that no gas deliveries would be during hours of non-operation?
We have a basic bylaw as far as ordinances are concerned in noise, which says that you can't accept deliveries. You can't pick up trash before 7 o'clock in the morning. So we do have something that covers that. I am not quite sure how noisy gas deliveries are. I don't. But you would know better.
Oh, yeah, and Craig knows, he lives halfway up Elm Street. He complains about hearing clunk. They drop these brass couplings, because they are big. The man works by himself on these tanker trucks. They drop these couplings, and then they go ahead and one at a time, they're coupled. Of course you're going to hear it, especially if it's 2 or 3 in the morning. Okay? If anybody else can, hey, let them deliver it during the day when there's business. I used to be in business myself. Okay? I understand the guy has to make money, but being in business, you also have to understand there's regulations that you have to abide by. And you can't open, why don't we let J.P. Ryan's, the Chinese joint, anybody else open anytime they want to? Oh no, their license is noontime, whatever.
Well, and that's why we're here tonight. We're trying to make
Right.
sure that the license is compliant
Okay?
with.
And
according
he's
to
in there turning lights on
the conditions
and everything. And this has been going on even after you guys have told more than one. That's why I finally took some pictures and put everything in writing.
I appreciate that. I think we all
And
do.
got signatures. There are 5 houses that I'm talking about here. From Elm Street, our house, which faces the gas station, because if you see one picture, it's a picture of the cars in the driveway. Our driveway is like from here to the wall, okay? That's how close the car wash is. And it's just,
No, I think we get your message. I think we understand your
but it keeps
frustration.
going on.
He's frustrated.
I understand that.
It
I
keeps
think we
going
understand.
on, and he laughs about it. He laughs about it. I'm not laughing any longer.
Well, I don't think we think it's
No,
funny.
okay.
So,
You're the people that count,
No.
okay? Oh, there is one other thing. There is a there's a mass DEP regulation that no car or truck can idle more than 5 minutes. He should have signs up telling people to shut their cars off. They can't let them, they go in the store, the trucks come, and since they got diesel, there are more trucks in there. They're running longer than 5 minutes. They get a delivery longer. I know it's not his fault, that's not control, but at least there should be a sign up. It is a Department Environmental Protection Regulation under Mass Law 310, 7.11. That is a law. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan. I don't know if you want to have, I'll give you one opportunity, George, if you want to respond to anything. I'm not sure if you do or not. That's up to you.
How about if we just give him a copy of the letter, and I know,
I wish I had a copy before. I mean, the letter went out on the 26th of July.
29th.
29th, actually.
It was dated the 26th, I'm sorry.
No, the
No, it's
29th.
dated the
is
29th.
dated. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Copy of it?
I guess the bottom line is, George, is obviously some complaints from neighbors.
Yeah, yes, no, I never received this, but the letter from the board indicating
Right.
tonight's meeting went
That's
out on the
correct.
26th.
This is the letter that
A CC to me.
Koga just-
And, you know, I know this isn't a judicial body, but by the same token, had it been, I would have objected to any,
But it's not, so.
no, it's not. But I do wish I had seen it before, and I wish I had been given an opportunity to try to address these matters directly with the complainant. I don't know
Well,
that
maybe,
that would have
let
resolved
me
it.
let me suggest this. Maybe you and Stan can sit down and go through it
Well, certainly would, I'd be willing to try.
item by item and see
uh,
if there's things that can be addressed.
I
And,
certainly would be willing to try, and I would welcome that opportunity.
And I think, as Kevin said, 1, 2, 3 strikes are out. So, some of these things have been ongoing. The complaints that have been made to us previously, and they're being made again. So at some point, it's going to be up to the board to make that
yeah,
decision.
but one thing that I do want to add, and based on my comments, it still is a highway commercial zone. It still is zoned for business. So you have to keep that in mind, and I understand where you live, and I understand the proximity of it, but he has an absolute right to make a living. He's in a legally authorized zone, so while some of your complaints are valid, I'll grant it, but some of them, unfortunately, from your standpoint, come from living that close to a highway commercial district. And, we cannot legislate the thing out of existence. I think we have to be mindful, that's why they have the scales of justice. You gotta weigh both sides. So I think he's heard, the complaints. Attorney Whiting has indicated he'll sit down with you to go over it, but I think you've just got to be mindful of the fact that this is still in the highway commercial zone. So with that said, I think you're well advised, you've heard everything, you've understand the position of the board, and I think, you've indicated you'll take it seriously and discuss that with your client.
Will be done.
Thank you.
Again, I thank you.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
I can have a copy of that.
Okay, Mike.
You want this, George?
You want to get, don't you need it from me? We have one. Thank you.
Stan comes.
Recuse myself from the next 2 items. Mike.
Next 2?
Yep. This Pledge of the alcohols. You both have to do with the having quality further recommendations.
Next item on the agenda is a public hearing. We will hold a public hearing on Monday, August 5th, 2012, 7:15 p.m. in the Carter Hearing Room, 500 Glenwood's Way, on the application of John and Chris and Martin Mia Regaza, 268 Washington Street, for a pledge of all alcoholic restaurant license to the Abington Bank, 6 Harrison Ave. R. Andrew Burbine, Chairman. I would accept a motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Donovan.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dion. Any further comment? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, basically, a pledge of a license is a standard issue. It's something that's a routine matter. They're pledging the assets of the license in order to obtain a loan. Unless there's any questions, I'm fully prepared.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
I'll make a motion that we approve the pledge of the license.
I second.
Can we do that in the hearing? We
Yep.
have to get out.
Well, it's a public hearing.
Public hearing. Any further discussion?
Well, it being a public hearing.
Yeah.
I guess I
that's what I'm saying,
expressed, expressed my feelings on it. Now it would be appropriate for them to see if there's any.
Where it is a public hearing, is there anybody that would like to be heard? John, would you? I don't think you have to, I'll say that.
Well, I guess, okay.
Please just name and address, please.
Yes, John Martin, Mia Ragazza Restaurant, 268 Washington Street. The license actually has been pledged for around the last 3 years with Abington Bank, and they weren't actually quite aware of it, but when we did refinance, it had to be pledged again. So I guess it was just something that we didn't know before the actual loan had begun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have just a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
In relationship to the license itself, to the property, is it pledged as equity or is it pledged as cash value?
It's pledged as equity.
Now, I don't know if, Kevin, I don't know if this is true or not, but I don't think you can pledge a license for cash. You can't sell it, in other words.
Right.
Okay. You're not selling it to the
No,
bank.
no.
It's
No.
just
It's just
a pledge
kind
of
of
equity. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Any further questions? If not, accept a
Anybody else?
If not, I'll accept a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Donovan,
Second.
second by Mr. Dion. Any further discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Mr.
Accept
Chairman,
the motions.
I'll move we approve the pledge of the license.
I have a motion by Mr. Donovan to approve the pledge of the license. We have a second? Second by Mr. Coyle. Any further discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous, thank you. The next, thank you, John. The next item on the agenda, and Mr. Burbine has recused himself, as a loan approval per the local initiative program. And, John, do you want to handle that, please?
Yeah, I will. From time to time, when people when individuals purchase subsidized housing or homes that at an affordable rate, the town, from time to time, have to sign off on these loan approvals. Tonight, what we're asking you to do is to subordinate the town's position as the individual who owns this property seeks to refinance. And so simply what we're voting on is a subordination amendment to the deed of the property. So we would, instead of being in first position, or I'm using just a number, we would subordinate to a lower position as the individual is refinancing. And that's what this request is for. And it just seeks local approval from the Department of Housing and Community Development.
Thank you, John. Questions, Tom?
So if there's a default on this home, who's first in order of?
Well, in order to get the loan, if there is a default, obviously it would go to the first position. And if there was money left over after the first position, it would flow to the second and third and fourth and so on, depending upon the value of the house, what it sold for, and so forth.
All right.
Does that answer your question?
We didn't underwrite the loan.
No. No. The Department of Housing and Community Development underwrote, it's a state loan program.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? No, I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Donovan to approve,
Second.
second by Mr. Dion. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you for making me look good in Mr. Burbine's absence.
Okay, item number 2, under action, discussion item, Selectmen appointment to MSBA committee.
I thought we already did this.
I thought we did too.
You did.
Okay.
You appointed two. You appointed Chris Aiello, and I think, is this?
Andy, I thought it
Oh,
was the
yes,
chairman of
Selectman
vice chairman.
Burke.
Right, that's right, yeah.
No, that's, honestly, that's, from what I
No,
recall.
we did.
It was the
That's
position of
exactly right.
chairman.
Yes, it was, yeah, the positions, right?
Yeah.
So you
So
want
do
to
you-
keep,
so
you want to
you-
keep it that way, or?
You don't need more than one, right?
I think we decided, we meaning the collective body of the Board of Selectmen at the time they took the vote, to have 2 members of the Board of Selectmen and 2 members, I think, of the school committee.
Right.
So I guess the question is, does the chairman, since we originally voted the chairman and vice chairman, do the present chairman and vice chairman wish to serve? And if
Well, I
they
was the
don't,
vice chairman at the time, so I would
Yes,
continue to
still,
serve, yeah.
would the current vice chairman still like to serve, or would he like to see if anybody else wants?
I'll serve.
Okay, well,
Well, here's the thing, if you switch positions, where it's chairman and vice chairman, what happens is would you have to re-vote it?
no.
No, and this isn't going to be an ongoing thing. I think it's only going to last for,
Yeah,
what,
that would be fine.
8, 10 months, isn't that the
always
feasibility?
Well,
Well,
change
we
it.
hope it's 8 to 10.
Yeah, that's, okay.
Yeah. We'll finish it before the next election.
Good.
All right.
Okay, so that's all set. Item number 3, consider signing a resolution calling on the governor and the legislature to develop a comprehensive and long-term solution to the transportation crisis.
Gentlemen, thank you. John Buckley, 333 Colonel Hunt Drive. As you know, I'm your representative to the MTA Advisory Board, and during the course of our deliberations of this year's budget, the Executive Director has asked all member communities to adopt a resolution urging the governor and the legislature to adopt a long-term financing program for the MBTA. As you all know, the fares went up this year to close the gap for the current year. Even given that, we're looking at a $100 million deficit for the next year. This has been precipitated by added service, precipitated by the extension of long-term debt, and an inordinate number of bond issues that were brought about by expansion of commuter rail, Silver Line, and various other projects. So what I'm asking the board to do in their wisdom to support the resolution and also to ask that they put it on the warrant for the special town meeting so the town meeting could take a stand on it too.
Any questions of Mr. Buckley?
No, I think obviously MBTA financing is long overdue between the question of forward funding and
Yep.
now the recent debacle. I have the legislature
The
coming
debt
until
is,
last minute to try and fund it. I'd move we approve the resolution.
I just have a question. Jack, I noticed we get assessed by the MBTA
Yes, we
this
do.
past year, $85,000. With this, if we're going out to bond, is that potentially going to increase our assessment? Do we know? Is it
can
capped at
increase
some
beyond
level?
2.5%.
Because I thought I heard at one point, John, that it was capped at 5% per year.
2.5%.
2.5%.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
The
So,
assessment went down nominally this year for the town of Abington. Is that the, John, about the assessment?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the local receipts. It was $84,486.
I think it was a little bit lower than it was the
The year
year
before.
before
Yeah, I don't
or
have
2
last
years ago.
year's.
I think it was as high as 87, if I remember.
Yeah, I think the change this year was a couple of $1,000s that went down. It was a restructuring of the formula and
But the state took it somewhere
but
else.
it's capped anyway.
Yeah, well, that was my question. I guess my concern would be I wouldn't want to get into a program where we're issuing $100,000, $200,000, or $1 million bonds, and all of a sudden our assessment's going to double, to basically pay for that.
I would suppose that would always be a consideration that the Great and General Court might consider to levy an increased amount of
right now
money
it's-
on the towns in the district, but I doubt that it would ever happen.
Yeah, okay.
And I remember when commuter rail came in, we weren't going to be assessed at all. That's right. The law got changed.
Those host communities were never going to be
Yeah.
assessed.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion. Somebody want a second?
I'll second.
And a second, any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And the squash is going well, I take it.
Item number
Squash.
4, discussion on revenue-generating sources, and this was actually the whole purpose of tonight's meeting initially, and this was Mr. Coyle's request. So Ken, I don't know if you want to lead it off?
Yeah, I'm not sure how the board wants to approach it. I have a whole long list of things. I know nobody wants to sit around for a long time.
Just don't talk about
I don't know
food
if we
right
want
now.
to go over some of my ideas and then see if people have other ideas or discuss each one at length.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Well, I'm just going to say, Kenny, I do appreciate that, but I do think that it should be a separate meeting, because as much as you have a laundry list, I have my own laundry list, and I'd rather give it its fair due, you know, at a meeting that we can really dedicate some time to, seeing that we'll be going back into executive session. So that would be my only comment. I'm willing to go, but
Well, let me just say this, is there anything we could have a heads up on so we know what we're.
Right, I was gonna say, if you guys have long laundry lists, if you
I mean, I'm not saying.
submit them in
do it
advance,
now,
so
I
we can
agree
take a
with
look
you.
at them.
If you
I
just
mean,
give
I
us
would
the-
love to
the
see them.
synopsis of what.
Submit them to the town manager and see, you know, maybe.
I'll go first.
No, I mean, you
No,
know,
no,
you know
I
what,
think he's just saying, let's
In
share it with the committee, or give it to the town manager.
Yeah, and then have
No,
him
I'd like
send
to,
it.
I'd like to meet with you and go over it and
Yeah.
discuss the possibilities and what you have, what we're doing from a financial perspective to try to rein in costs. Because it's not only generating revenue, because if you just generate revenue, you'll spend it unless you control costs. So you have to do two things. You can't just generate revenue without finding ways to control your current expenditures, so you're not spending the revenue that you're making, and you would be able to probably invest it in something else.
Appreciate that, but at least mine, I think, are more on the revenue side of it that wouldn't necessarily, you know, involve cost to the town. And I don't know about you, but,
Yeah, for the most part.
you know, we've been down the line of cost avoidance, cost cutting, you know, and it's not a pleasant one for, you know, this board, finance committee, or any member of, you know, the community. So I'd just like to, at this point in the year, maybe look at some of those revenue generating opportunities and see if there's anything there. There might be, you know, tunnels that, you know, dead ends, but I don't think it's a bad idea to spend a couple of minutes on.
I would like the
Any idea?
opportunity to meet with you, the two of you on that and discuss it.
And actually, honestly, if anybody's watching this, there might be some other ideas out there from the general public that might want to share them with us or with you that might be helpful, certainly worth looking at, so.
Oh, sure.
Well, let me ask this, do you want to have another meeting just for that, dedicated to that, or do you guys want to sit down with John and go through it first with him?
You can do it, it doesn't matter to
I'll
me.
leave it up to the board. I mean, I was hoping with the committee, but I mean, it could go either way.
I think it was more Kenny's.
Well, I was hoping we could just have a kind of a roundtable
Yeah.
discussion and just banter stuff
That's
about
fine.
it and say, that sounds like a great idea, let's pursue it further.
Yep.
We tried that before, let's, you know, that sort of stuff. And, you know, every idea might breed a couple more ideas, that sort of stuff. So.
Fine
To
by
your
me.
point, Mike, if anybody in the audience is listening and, you know, it might spur some ideas there that we could,
Yeah, that's
You know.
fine, I just didn't know how you would want to approach it. I'm
'Cause-
fine with either way, that's fine.
because come December, January, we're gonna be back in the cost cutting, you know, cost avoidance mode, so I just assume see if there's some opportunities.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we set a meeting, not on a Monday night, just so it'll be just a meeting to dedicate to that in the next couple of weeks? Is there a night?
On the 20th,
On the 20th, just so you know, there's only one item on there now.
Yeah, but there was only one item on this one, too.
Oh,
and
it'll
it
go,
just-
yeah. they're just-
So I would rather just have it maybe on a Tuesday or Wednesday night. If you want to do it at 6 o'clock at night, just,
you know.
or 5:30, whatever, you know.
No.
5:30 is too early for you. 6.
I'm starving.
we'll do it at 6:30.
No, if it's on, you know, the weather actually dictates a lot.
You know, it may also be very productive to also have some of the department heads
I was thinking the same thing.
in as well, because they run their departments, and I mean, they could provide for you insight on the expenditure, as well as maybe come up with ways in which they could look at reducing as well. And I think we could have a better discussion with some of the department heads. If I know some of the departments you're interested in looking at, perhaps for cost avoidance, cost reductions. And it doesn't always necessarily mean in dollars as well. It could mean, you know, how our resources are organized and how we, you know, spend our dollars. We could look at that as well. I don't know if that's helpful.
You want to do it August 28th would be a Tuesday, August 29th would be a Wednesday.
29th would be better for me.
29th.
I'm good.
We'll try 5:30 if you want, 6 o'clock. I don't
You
care.
try 6 o'clock then, because then the department heads don't have to hang around either.
Mhm.
We'll
Yeah,
invite
that's-
them if they want to come, that's up to them.
Well, it's not a question of inviting them, it's, I'll have them here. You know? I think it's important that they hear from the board
Right.
what concerns they have as far as management are concerned. And
Personally, I like to prefer that we sit down together, banter these about, and then if some of them has some validity, then approach that department and say, what do you think of this idea? You know, because if I say, let's cut this, and you guys all disagree, then I'll probably, yeah, maybe you're right. We shouldn't approach that department. I'd rather just do it in-house first, and then, you know, pick some of the ideas that sound feasible, and then explore them further.
I think it's almost like a tier one, you know, with the board, and then it could be moved down to other levels, whether it's
And we can
department heads,
yes,
residents.
yes. And we can
whoever.
prioritize them too, you know. Okay,
Yeah.
next meeting, let's work on this one.
Well, what you could do is give me what you have, I can share it with the board, with the departments, and discuss it, and give you some feedback before the 29th.
That's fine.
Does that work? I mean, I'm open.
Yeah, but the 29th will just be a board.
Just for that.
Okay.
Correct.
All right, August 29th at 6 o'clock. Anything else on item number 4? Item number 5, formation of town manager's personnel committee per the personnel bylaw. Mike asked that this be on the agenda, I guess, just to update us as to where that stands, John.
I think the personnel bylaw requires us to appoint one member from the board, one member from the community, I'm sorry. One member is a board appointment, one member is a manager's appointment, and then there's a joint appointment. We have received some requests when we first went out from some residents of the town who have an interest in serving on this committee. So we can bring that forth on the 20th. And again, I don't know who the board has in mind, if anybody, to serve on this committee. And there was some discussion about the composition of the committee. We didn't want everyone from labor and no one from management. We wanted to try to balance it in the best way possible. So I would, if you want to propose somebody from management, I'll propose somebody from the union, or vice versa if you want that composition. I think
Did you say you have applications from people who are interested?
I do, and I can make them available to the board.
That would be helpful.
In email form, of people who have expressed interest in serving.
I thought that was your appointment, or maybe I misunderstood. I thought it was your appointment to tell who was going to be on the committee. You were going to decide.
No, I think.
Not so much as the board of selectmen, but from the people at large, the people that are.
Okay. If I remember correctly, it was a board appointment, a town manager's appointment,
Yeah.
and a joint appointment. There were 3 appointments.
Okay, that's fine. That's what I remember.
And what I'm looking for from the board's perspective is, do you want to appoint the member at large or the resident, if that's what we decide, the composition? If you want somebody from the union on there as well, then we can do that. When I talk about union, I'm not talking about the active unions e-board unions that are here currently in the town. I'm talking about a resident who has union experience negotiating contracts or doing that as a resident. And I think it should be a resident-based committee, and we shouldn't have staff people like a union representative actively negotiating the union contract with the town who also serves on this committee. I think that there needs to be that kind of separation. That's what I'm trying to say.
How about if
Thank
we,
you.
with the applications
I'll
that
send them
the town
out.
manager currently has, why don't we just put out a quick
A post.
advertisement that we're taking applications till whenever the close of the agenda is for the 20th, invite whoever comes in, and that night, you
On
can
the
make your
20th.
appointment, we can make our appointment, then jointly we can agree on a third. How's that
Yeah.
sound?
That sounds great.
Sounds perfect. So we'll do it on the 20th.
Yep, sure. But you'll post it, I guess, just to see
And
if
invite-
anybody else might be interested in.
And invite, whoever replies.
Right,
invite
to
them.
come in, yeah, yeah.
It'll be on the website.
Yeah, okay, very good. Anything else on
No
that?
one reads.
Item number 6, town manager report. John?
I just have, one item. I came back, from vacation, which really isn't an item, although it might be to some people. I just wanted to announce that I think the trash program, in all honesty, got off to a pretty good start. Delivered over 4,300 barrels. And I would like to urge residents, if they are listening, to pay attention to the material that was sent to you that came with your barrels. There was if you opened up your barrel, there was a packet of information with a magnet for the refrigerator for who to call when you have problems, whether it's a bulky item or a TV or whatever you're looking to get rid of. The cost is now going to be driven by the hauler. You don't come in and get stickers anymore for any of that sort of stuff. So the barrels were delivered. We had some minor hiccups in relationship to assignment of barrels. We have reassigned some barrels, and we have a healthy amount of barrels on hand that I think should last us over the next 10 years in relationship to changing out barrels that are damaged or lost or stolen. The process for stolen barrels is that you have to file a police report, and the police report will then be submitted to us, and we will reissue a barrel. And the reason why we want a police report filed is because we want to make sure that the barrel is lost or stolen, and there is some sort of investigation going on between the town and the requester. Also, I think far more important is that if you are an aggressive recycler, we do have 96-gallon toters that are available that we will deliver to your residents upon request. Now, the request will go through, obviously, the Board of Health. They have a compliance monitor for trash and for recycling who will be out there measuring, so to speak, the amount of recycled material. And if there is a need for a 96-gallon container, we will, upon inspection, we will deliver a 96-gallon container free of cost to each residential house who needs it and who requests it and can show proof that their 64-gallon container is simply not large enough for what they have, and that may be because they have a large family and they need a 96-gallon container. So we want this program to succeed because it's going to save money for the town. It's going to reduce our trash collection costs, and we're hoping to increase recycling, for which the town receives revenue, shared revenue with the hauler. So, and in addition to that, and the final item, there will be 2 special collections for yard waste, one in the fall and one in the spring. So if you have barrels that you don't know what to do with, and you've already X'd them out and sent them in, that's fine. If you haven't, you can leave them at curbside or take them down to Groveland Street on a Saturday, and they will take them and crush them, and the hauler will take them out as recycled material. But save those barrels for yard waste collection, because you're going to need them in the fall and you're going to need them in the spring. So your barrels are not necessarily going to go to waste, and so I'm hoping that residents give this program a chance over the next 2 to 3 months to work out any kinks or any issues. It's a learning process for the resident, it's a learning process for staff, and it's also a learning process for the hauler, who hasn't done this at all. This is the first community in which he has automated trash collection. I do believe it's the future for trash collection services in Massachusetts. They've been doing it for 20 years or so in California, so everything seems to go from California eventually over to Massachusetts, but not without a fight. So we're hoping that this program is a success, because it will give us the ability to save, you know, approximately $300,000 to $340,000. I know that we've committed some of that money to condo, continuing the condo trash pickup services, but at least at this point, we're going to save a healthy amount of money.
Any questions for John? Tom?
John, regarding the police report, should we encourage residents to write down the serial number of the barrel in case there is any sort of loss, that if they do report it to the police, they can report the serial number on that barrel also?
Well, we, if there is a barrel lost and we have an address, we know what the serial number is. We have,
Okay, so you don't
that's
know
been
who does it.
pre-assigned.
Okay.
When they deliver a barrel, there are two barrels. One is a trash, one is a recycling. Both have different serial numbers, and both of those numbers are assigned to that particular address on a spreadsheet that we have.
Okay.
In addition to that, there is also a microchip in the barrel that assigns the barrel to the residential address. And the reason for that is in the next contract, we're hoping to begin to monitor the per household trash disposal on a quarterly, 6-month, and a yearly basis. So we want to see in each of our residential units how much they are recycling versus how much they are disposing of trash, so that we can outreach to them in future contracts and begin to teach them that there is more value in recycling than, you know, in the trash component. And that chip is going to have a weight on it, so we can weigh the barrel and assign that weight to the household. And we will also be able to do that as well in future contracts. We can't do that now.
Second question, last question is, complaint I've heard is on the bulk item pickup, the increase, I think it's gone from $20 to $35. One resident asked me if Waste Solutions designated a spot, could a resident take that and drop off that bulk item at no cost?
It's, that I think is, in most towns, it works just a little different. We need to reestablish the Groveland Street address as an actual alternative for bulky waste collection. If you wanted to get in your car, take your refrigerator down to the Groveland Street, that is a town responsibility. It's not a waste hauler's responsibility. And the next phase of this contract will be to do just that. That the town will be in a position with some additional revenue to look at RFPing the Groveland Street site to do just what you're asking, which is to give you the ability as a homeowner to say, I'm not going to pay that $35 fee. I'm going to take it down to Groveland Street. It means that we're going to have to expand the hours of Groveland Street to probably include a Monday, or do a Saturday and a Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So it gives residents a chance during the weekend to bring that down and deposit it for free. Now, there are some vendors that I'm aware of that actually come in and contract with a community, and they provide a community with a revenue stream for cardboard, newspaper, and so forth. Where they don't make money is necessarily on the TVs and so forth. So we have to work that out, and I have to bid it out, but it's something that I plan to do in the future. I'm going to have a discussion with the Board of Health about that.
But right now, there's no mechanism.
Not at the present
Oh,
time.
you're looking at
That is going to happen in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Ken?
A couple things relating to the trash. I'd like to personally thank John Stone, our sewer superintendent, who helped to distribute some of the barrels when the people left town. The company, they still missed a few houses, so him and his crew went around and distributed some barrels, and that was great working with the Board of Health to do that. Another advantage of the chips in the barrels is that there's a program called Recycle Bank, and the town in the future could decide to sign on to that program. That rewards residents for recycling. They get gift certificates, they earn points by the poundage that they recycle. So I would probably hopefully suggest in the next contract we pursue that idea, since the chips are in the barrel. Bulk items, we talk about bulk items. If it's metal, people love metal. they want metal. If they call the Board of Health office, there's a couple companies, names they'll give you, and if it's a refrigerator, hot water heater, even a bicycle or a gas grill, they will come to your house and pick it up for no charge. So rather than paying $35 to an outside vendor, you could put it out there, and it might even be gone before the company comes to get it, because if anybody knows, metal is very valuable. And also contact the Board of Health office for anything that you may think someone else could use, because there's a wealth of resources. You see them on Craigslist. People say curbside, and people will drive by it, and if it's halfway decent, they'll take it, if it's a chair or something that he's recanting or anything like that. But there are tons of sources. I encourage people to look for other ways than having to spend the money to pick up a bulk item.
You know, I stop a lot at curbside. My wife won't let me get out.
Anything else? Any other questions of John? If not, number 7, public comment. Any public comment? No public comments. So now we need a motion to enter into executive session to discuss the fire union collective bargaining proposal,
So
and not to return to open session.
So moved.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
In a second. Any discussion? If not, again, by roll call vote. Tom?
Aye.
Ken?
Aye.
Kevin?
Abstain. Because I can't
Right.
participate.
Aye.
Michael? Yes, and yes. Thank you, everybody.
I say yes, but since you said aye.